Grace and peace and spoiler alert for 3 men and a baby. I am Ryan. I'm the movie pastor. I guess I'm also the movie father, and I really wanted to have my baby here for this review, but it turns out that it's kind of tough to finagle that between mom and nap time, and she doesn't really have much to say right now anyway. So I'll just sprinkle in some pictures of her as we talk about 3 men and a baby. I interpret movies in theological context. That's what I do. I pay attention to the deeper meaning behind them and interpret them the way I interpret the Bible. So how do we interpret 3 men and a baby? What's it say? What's it mean? And what are we going to do about it? Well, what it says is that these 3 guys got a baby, and over time, though they failed at first, they grew to become pretty good at it and to like it, to really enjoy it. And I think that's a lot to do with what it means. I think some of the significance has to do with gender roles. It has to do with men who, especially at that time, were not typically responsible for caring for children. I think I saw a survey that said something like 3% of men had changed diapers. That number is much higher today, and I think that's a really good change. But Leonard Nimoy, the director, was kind of showing like, hey, men can do this, and there's something rewarding for men doing it. But also beyond that, the idea that people can do this is kind of strange. I keep going back to that line that says, I miss Mary. You know, like, why is it that we have these things in our lives that poop and scream and make messes and don't help clean them up? That they take a lot of work and they don't give much aside from being really cute, and yet we make the decision to make them, often make more of them, and we like it. Why do people like babies? Well, I've got to give props to Wheezy Waiter. He is a much more successful YouTuber than me. He made this video, which is just incredible, and you should check it out. I guess up here is the easiest place to put a card, but I put a screenshot of it over there, where he talks about, like, what is it in us that causes us to like this thing? And I've got to be honest with you, a lot of times I don't. Like, Lydia's 6 months today, actually, and I am just getting used to it, and she is getting better. Like she is more able to play and giggle and respond to me now than she was when she was born. But man, parenting is really, really hard. And so when I look at people who've like done this 4 and 5 and 6 times, there really is a mystery there. Now, Wheezy is going to point out some of the evolutionary reasons for that, right? Like, as a species, we've got to be hardwired to do this because we need to in order to be a species, among other reasons. I also think there are probably some creationary reasons, right? Like, there's not a ton in the scripture that talks about like family values. I think that's something that shows up more in pop Christian culture than actual biblical orthodoxy. But despite that, I think part of the reason that became a part of pop Christian culture wasn't dishonest or as a result of like giving things over to capitalism or Americanism. It was because a lot of us raised children, and when you raise children, you give yourself over to parenthood, and you start to ask questions like, what am I meant to do? What's most important in my life? And isn't it this? Isn't it her? And when we know that's the answer, then we think about what we were created for and what we are supposed to do. At the end of the day, though, I really do think, at least for me, it's just kind of a mystery. I don't know. You'll have to ask me when I've got a 5-year-old and I'm remembering the good old days of her being a little bitty bundle, or maybe even a 16, 17-year-old, and I'll probably have a different theological answer. But I've appreciated walking through the question with 3 men and a baby.